Hi, ladies. I think we are live.
We are.
All
Happy
right.
Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Thursday.
Friday Eve.
Yes, we haven't heard that in a long time.
I know, we missed our Friday Eve. So welcome everyone to our Good Girlfriends chat. We are thankful to be back another Thursday. And since it's still the month of January and people are still, we were talking about how people have, you know, to start the new year off with goals or resolutions or whatever they call them. And usually some of them are pertain to health and fitness. So we figured tonight we would ask one of our trainer friends to join us. We're allowing a guy up into our virtual living room this evening, but we thought we would have him come share with us tonight. And he's a very dear friend of mine and also my personal trainer, Jamal Piper. But before we get started with Jamal, we'll go ahead and have the other ladies introduce themselves. Juanita.
Good evening. I'm Juanita Tubman. I don't know what we do anymore. What do we say? I'm just happy to be here. So happy Friday Eve. I have been missing for a little while, so happy to be back.
We're glad you're back. Hi, Marcy.
Hey. Good to be here as well. Always happy to be back and looking forward to hearing and getting back on the journey of wellness and fitness. So glad to be here.
And one of our special guests who she pops in from time to time. Usually we ask her about real estate things, but also fitness too. So we're happy you're here, Kim.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our virtual living room. We're so happy to have you guys with us, our new viewers. Hopefully you will enjoy tonight's discussion on health and fitness. We all need that. I came dressed for the occasion. I don't know how much exercising I'm doing, but I love the fitness wear. So I will say to you that we are not experts. Well, I can't say that tonight because we have a trainer in our midst. So we do have expertise tonight about how to be healthy, what types of exercises, will help. I hope those troubled areas, we'll find out about that too. So I am looking forward to our chat tonight as we kick it with Jamal and love on each other too, as sister girls do. Now we have a guy friend, so.
Yes. So Jamal, why don't you introduce yourself properly and tell us a little bit about it.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jamal Piper. I have been in the health and wellness industry for almost 15 years now. And primarily I do general population personal training. I've worked with youth, middle school students, high school students, summer programming, nutrition, health and wellness programs for them, camps, and so forth. Like primarily it's mostly general population, adults, mostly one-on-one. I do some group training and group fitness, small group. Also, just started doing some work at a studio, part-time as well. So that's professionally like my background. I've always been active. I grew up around sports. Since I was walking, I played something. So it's just in my nature to be active. And I was first started getting into fitness in college, trying to play basketball as me to get bigger and get stronger. And then what segued me to become a trainer is I actually had a health scare in 2006. Short version is I had an infection from a dental procedure and had an infection in my lungs, almost died.
Wow.
And was in ICU and incubated and all that. And I was working out a lot and just doing the process, losing weight and body just feeling off. I just started studying. I said, okay, how am I going to get myself back in the shape that I was and beyond? And I said, let me go ahead and just become a trainer. So that's kind of how I fell into it. That circumstance kind of pushed me pushed me in that direction.
Wow, I never knew that story. That's very interesting. I'm glad you are healthy and whole from that experience, but that's a very traumatic experience there. Wow. So now that you have been in a trainer for so long, what do you think about women of a certain age, like who, you know, possibly have not ever trained before? What are some tips you can give some women of a certain age?
Well, I mean, this can go for anybody, but I know as the age, anyone ages, you feel like, okay, you know, where do I start? You know, that's always the first thing that comes up. And you know, we're in a time now where we got information overload, and it's good and bad to that. I'm sure your respective industries, you all deal with it. That you social media, the internet, and so, you know, somebody needs to bring all that together and really get something that's for you. And so the biggest thing is start with the basics. You know, start with the basics, you know, push-ups, squats, being able to move your own body weight, walking, running. If you know you can run, but definitely at least walking, some type of aerobic activity. Find something that you enjoy. Some people like going to Zumba classes, a spin class, like spinning, cycling, running, martial arts, line dancing, something to get your heart rate up to move. Find something you enjoy and be mindful that everything you're doing is for a reason. You know, if you're doing aerobic activity, it's for a reason. You're doing strength training, yoga, Pilates, it's for a reason. All these different forms of exercise serve a function. They have a purpose. And you need to understand, this is why I'm doing this. You know, and if it's sometimes it's a functional issue, like you may have an old injury, arthritis, just a weak area over time that hasn't been addressed. Because in the fitness industry, we have this term called mature muscle, right? And someone's been working out or been active for most of their adult life. Their body's been conditioned to move in certain types of movements. If an adult has not been doing that for most of their adult life, and now they decide, okay, I want to start. The thing is, don't get discouraged, because the thing is, you don't have that mature muscle. All right. So as we age, it's hard to build muscle. All right. So you got to be patient and go through that process. I'm not talking about muscle mass. I'm talking about, like, you can sit about the bed easier.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit down and stand up easier. You know, now you chop 5 bags of groceries in each one of your hands. It's not as strenuous. You know, everyday activities. Because you think about it, we push, we pull, we sit, we stand every day. That requires muscle. And they deteriorate over time if you're not intentional about building them. It's like you see an elderly person lay flat, right? We've all seen it probably with loved ones, and they can't literally sit up without assistance. That's core strength. You know, I can't stand up. Core, your legs, that's muscles. So just be mindful. It's a thing that's needed to do just to function. Because I know for myself, I can look at an elderly person's posture and tell if they were an active person most of their life. Just by their gait, how they walk. You know, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so is there a time frame or how long it takes to build muscle, or is it just everybody's different? Or when should if you started today and you were consistently working out like 2-3 times, I mean with weights 2-3 times a week, can you say in 6 months somebody would have more muscle? Or I'm just wondering if there's like a time frame when you should feel the difference.
I would say, from my experience, a couple of weeks, people start to feel a difference. It may take 4 weeks, 8, going into 12 to really start seeing a difference.
Gotcha.
You know, and the concept to keep in mind is cardiovascular exercise burns calories. Any type of strength training burns fat and builds muscle, right? So if somebody comes to myself or any trainer, someone like that, says, I don't like how my arms look. I don't like how this over here on my leg looks. You have to be intentional about, just from an aesthetic standpoint, how do I change that? The muscles will have to replace the fat, right? And then you have to, over time, work in those areas with proper nutrition, we'll see results. So I say it's a process. Like I say, 2 weeks to feel it, 4 weeks, you should start like, okay, I see something coming over there. 8 weeks, 12 weeks. 12 weeks, somebody can transform their body. Unless they're, morbidly obese and really have to go through a lot. But even that person in 12 weeks can see some major change.
Yeah. So
All right.
you
So
had
the average person.
Go ahead. I was just going to say you had to throw in the nutrition part, but we'll get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, we have another special guest, Chloe. Chloe Kent, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. We were just getting started, Chloe, and Jamal Piper is another personal trainer. So how about if we have you introduce yourself to our audience out in the world?
Okay, great. My name is Chloe Kent. I know some of you on here, Jeanette, Marcia. Nice to see you guys. I'm actually a trainer. I've been training for 8 years now here in the Philadelphia area. Work at several gyms I'm sure all of you are familiar with, but now I do all private training with clients in a private gym setting or in home.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I was just asking, we were starting off, I was asking Jamal to talk to us about, give us some tips for ladies who of a certain age who may have not trained in the past. What were some tips to get them started? So that's where we started this whole discussion. So,
Okay.
yeah. Any other questions, or anybody have a question they want to ask? Or I have a million questions, but anybody else have any questions that they want to ask?
I do. This is for people that work in an office, like sedentary jobs. What are some exercises they can do at their jobs, at their desk even, that would help to, that would help them to work out or build muscle or whatever? What could they do besides getting up, walk around? What are some other things?
Yeah, and some that focus on posture, because I heard you say that, Jamal, about posture. And I know with sitting all day that I don't focus on my posture enough. Actually, Zoom meetings help me focus on it more when I see myself in the screen. But I know that I need to do better with posture. So if there are any pointers on or tips for exercises that help with that as well, that would be great.
One thing I recommend is pull movement. It's a term like don't just focus on your mirror muscles, like the ones you can see. And you think about it, we always are moving forward. You're sitting at a keyboard, you're forward, you're reaching. All right, you walk forward, you don't walk backwards. But for posture, you need to focus on your back and your core to literally pull yourself back to be more upright. So one of it is sitting upright when you're in the desk and not slouching. All right, so having good posture. You've probably seen more, some of these have these desks where you can sit, you can stand, You see people sometimes sit on an exercise ball to give themselves a break from a chair to force them to have good posture. But at the desk, I don't know if there's so much you can do. I mean, you can do like some arm curls and some flies, but in terms of better posture, more of a pulling movements, rows, rear delts, things that focus on the backside of your body to really pull yourself back, so you're not doing it, doing that. Because think about it, that's naturally reaching, so that everything's coming. You're sitting like this all day. Your body's kind of used to being set in that position. So you really got to be intentional about, okay, how do I balance that out? Because even like I say, even walking, everything you're moving forward, you're not focusing. The backside is not getting the work.
All right, I'm gonna try that. Trying to sit up properly.
Can I just say something?
We all went into the position. Go ahead.
I was going to say the other great thing about practicing having good posture is for me, it takes pounds off. Like if I look at myself like with an outfit on and I look at myself with good posture, like shoulders back, it takes pounds off. Like it streamlines your appearance. Just a little tip or trick. Try it. Seriously.
I need time off.
It does make a difference. I agree. So what else? So yeah, go ahead, Jay. I was just going to ask in terms of Chloe and Kim, or Jamal as well, for I think as Cara was saying, for either women who haven't been working out or have taken a break and haven't done anything or haven't done a lot since they saw their personal trainer last. What's good places for people to start? Or we are certainly, the pandemic has done a lot of things to us, not just physically but emotionally. So what's a good place for people to start in just a couple days a week, and things that are because I do think if you when you move, you do feel better. If your posture is good, I absolutely agree with Kim. You can, you look in that mirror and just more upright, that outfit does look a little bit more slimmer. You turn to, I absolutely agree with that. But, I think helpful for, those of us who are out listening, for some good places to start if we either haven't done this before, or we've, we haven't done it in a while.
Chloe, go ahead. She can go ahead and answer this one.
Okay, great. So I think a big thing for a lot of people is setting a goal that you can stick with, right? Especially if you're going or starting at zero. If you haven't been doing anything, it's probably not realistic for you to say, I'm going to start working out every single day. And then when you tell yourself you're going to do that and you don't, you get discouraged. So for a lot of clients that are starting new, realistic goal, right? Let's just say you do want to work out every day. Try and say the same time every day, whether it's 30 minutes, 45 an hour, whatever you have time for. Be realistic with that goal. Don't set a goal that's so big that you're not going to be able to stick with it, and then you're back at zero because it was too much for you to do, right? So if it's every other day, Tuesday, Thursday, those are the days you have time, you have the most time on the weekend, start with something that's reasonable and then build up from there. You have to build the habit. Just if you're not working out and haven't been working out and think you're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to work out every day for an hour, twice a day, that's not reasonable for a lot of people. And then they stop doing it and then you're back at zero again. So find that goal, find an accountability partner, whether that's a friend, a trainer, someone that can keep you on that goal and help you get into that rhythm if you're really struggling to do stuff on your own.
So consistency, just to, stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. So let's talk about diet. So you mentioned this earlier, Jamal, and I'd like to hear from you and Chloe about, give us a scale. I've heard things, but what is your perception of diet versus working out, whether it's cardio or weights, how important is the diet, and what kind of diets would you suggest, like, for women of a certain age?
Well, rule number
That
one,
is
you can't
hilarious.
outwork you can't outwork a bad diet. For
That's
one,
true.
unless you're just gifted or you're young. We're not talking about that. So, no matter how much you work out, if you're not, putting good stuff into your body, you're not going to get good stuff out of your body at any age, Um, cold turkey also doesn't work a lot for most people, everything in moderation. You
So you can have sweets, just not like,
you don't want to crash and burn, right? If you're someone that drinks wine every day and then say, you know what, I'm never going to drink wine again, that's probably not realistic, right? So I think it all ties into being honest with yourself, which a lot of people struggle with, so you need to sit down and write down these things that are actually achievable for you, whether it's with your partner or with your trainer. Come up with a plan. Know what you're going to eat every day. If you know what you're going to eat for lunch and dinner every day, you won't be scrambling and eating random things you shouldn't be eating, right? Having your day planned out. This is what I'm eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is what I'm having for a snack. This is what time I'm working out. When you're just winging it, good things aren't going to happen with that.
so Jamal, what kind of diet would you suggest? I know you sent me a meal plan. Is that the one typically that you would share with your clients, or was that just a sample?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people have to look, the concept of food has to change, and food is fuel. It's like people like Europeans, fancy cars. You don't put regular gas in a luxury car, right? So what do you want? You want your body to perform. So what are you going to put into your body? So that's the whole concept and our relationship with food has to change. So it's like, okay, I'm a big proponent of getting a lot of protein, a lot of fruit, fruits, vegetables, and depending on the person's goals, manage their carbs. Now, all that intake will gauge on the weight they're at and what their goal weight is. But those basic principles, drinking a lot of water. We put all these names and labels on diets and things. I think it causes a lot of confusion. But you want to eat whole foods, real food, stay away from processed foods that are high in sugar, limit your alcohol consumption. Like Chloe was saying, moderation. Like you want to be able to enjoy things, but also get to the point where you have the self-control to know I'm doing this in moderation and I'm done with it for a while. I'm good. But food is, psychologically, it feeds into every emotion. And people got to be honest with themselves about that. I'm happy. Oh, let's go get a drink. I'm had a bad day. I need that glass of wine. So happy, sad, indifferent. We look to food and beverages to kind of feed that emotion. So people need to be honest with themselves and say, okay, why do I want this right now? And what purpose is it serving? Is this my palate just used to it and I just want it? Or this is what I need. And healthy food doesn't have to taste bad. I remember I was doing a middle school program, after school program, and we made green smoothies. And they saw the color, they was, oh my gosh, no, yuck. I asked one young man, I said, come up, taste it. Because it had bananas and pineapples in it, so it's sweet. So we put, fruits to mask the green vegetables. That's how you blend it a certain way. As soon as he tasted it, oh, this is good. They maybe ran. I know they went through it. You know, so it's just to open your mind up to things and learn, you know, how to prepare healthy meals, what's in food, what you need, what you don't need. You know, just, you know, some people need to relearn, you get conditioned, like how to eat, you know, from passed down from generations, or you know, schedules change, and I just need something quick. I don't have time to be preparing and doing and thinking through all that. And our society is not set up for quick to be healthy. You know, so you know, there's just a lot of things people got to consider and get a plan together, like get a schedule together. Don't be an impulsive eater. And once you kind of get in a rhythm and a flow, it doesn't seem as overwhelming.
Yeah, I like what you said about relationship with food has to change. Food or drink or whatever it is has to change. And that's a good point. And I do agree that, you know, the easier way is to just grab something, but this, if you really want to get on the road to success, planning is probably the biggest key. So, and I mean, that's difficult. Even I consider myself someone that cooked all the time. And then when I made the decision that for January, part of our fast in our house was that we had to cook everything that we ate, I saw how difficult it was for me to just do it every day. I was doing it pretty much for 5 days a week, but we might have a little carry out a couple days a week. But those extra 2 days, I mean, I see the difference. It's hard. So, but it's a commitment that you have to make, I guess, if you want to have a lifestyle change and change your relationship with food.
So I have had,
Many of y'all, sorry, go ahead, Jeanette.
no, go ahead, Q.
I was thinking about that because of some health issues that I found out that I have with digestion and things like that. I find it hard to meal plan and prep because I don't know what I'm going to want to eat. I mean, I eat pretty good, to be honest, but I don't always know that. Okay, I can eat my spinach today, or I want to eat this chicken breast with just grilled or something or whatever. Like, how do people really train yourself to meal prep, and do you make your taste buds just take it, you know, if that's not what you want? I mean, I just wonder how people do that, because it's been hard for me.
I have a friend that does counts macros, I guess.
Yeah.
They're numbers, right? So it doesn't necessarily, I don't know the math behind it. Maybe Chloe and Jamal, you guys know the math behind, you know, meeting your numbers, certain proteins, certain fats, certain carbs. So that way, once you know how much of each, how many grams or whatever of each, you're not limited in terms of your variety of food. You're just matching these certain numbers so you can hit your goal weight. And, you know, I've watched one of my friends go through this process a couple of times. So now, you know, whenever their weight goes up or whatever, they know what numbers to hit. And again, it's not like it interferes so much with what they can eat, just how much of. And so, you know, that might be an option for you, Q. I wanted to kind of talk to Jamal and Chloe to see, like, what do you think about that? Is that something that you work on with your clients? Have you seen people to have success with using that approach to losing and or gaining? Some people want to gain weight, so, or muscle, so.
Right.
Anybody, either one of you have any experience?
Sorry, I was letting you, but I can go. Well, this goes back into the being realistic. You know, if you're going to keep track of that, great. You know, we can get you your numbers. A lot of people, I recommend a simple app to use is MyFitnessPal, right? Mm-hmm. You put in your calorie goal for the day. The only reason I say that one's okay is because if you are someone that wants a variety of food, there's a lot of options on there that people have already logged that have the counts. You know, that app's been around for a while. So like if you were to eat something random and search it, it's most likely
in there.
Yeah, it's like in the database on there. But even just to touch back on the meal prepping thing, you know, you don't have to make your meals be all the same thing, right? I'm someone that's a pretty picky eater, and my eating options are very limited because I don't eat meat, and I still find a way to, find variety. When let's just say, I'm just going to make a simple example, right? You have a meal with rice, salmon, and broccoli. You might have a meal with potatoes, shrimp, and green beans. And you might have a sweet potato chicken mix, 5 different options. So then when that day comes, Monday, you have things to choose from. You don't have to make all the meals in the meal prep the same thing, if that makes sense. There's even meal prep companies that you can, if you don't want to cook, you can order. I order my food from a meal prep company every other week because I don't have time to cook a lot of the times with work. And they have so many options of things you can order on there. You can order 10 different things if you want. For me, it's kind of limited. There's not a lot of vegetable options on there, but for someone that doesn't have any dietary restrictions, there are a lot of options out there. You can look up recipes, if you need to switch it up, there's ways to switch it up. A lot of times people do make the same things. It's easier to make those same things in bulk, right? To make a bunch of chicken, a bunch of broccoli, and a bunch of rice and divvy it up. That's the easiest way to meal prep if we're just using a simple example. But you don't have to do that, You can make up your own menu and mix it up if you're someone that needs variety or not sure what you're going to want to eat that day. I personally am someone that can eat the same thing every day, so I don't really have that issue. But, if you need to mix it up, you can, right? Now we can go back to the MyFitnessPal thing. That's another app. Jamal might know of one that he can recommend as well to keep track of those things. But at the end of the day, you need to just start. If you're not eating healthy or you're not eating enough food, you need to start with that before you worry about tracking anything, right? If you're not eating the right kinds of food, it doesn't matter what you track, or if you're following those numbers, it's not going to work. So bare minimum, start with eating those healthy meals throughout the day is always my recommendation. Trying to just flip your whole lifestyle to something else, unless you're 100% dedicated to it, it's not something that's going to last long term. It's just going to be a quick fix, right? Everyone needs something that's going to last you, and it's a lifestyle that you need to adapt. So trying to do something that's like, okay, I want to lose these 20 pounds, I have a wedding, and then you're just going to gain those 20 pounds back because you were doing something to lose those 20 pounds that was not a sustainable lifestyle for you. And that's something that I firmly believe in.
I have a two-part question speaking to something that you just said. So my husband has said to me so many times, he's like, you're gonna have a hard time losing weight because you don't eat enough food. You need to eat more food. I'm not really a foodie. I like sweets. So I just eat food just because I'm trying to get to my dessert. And that's just how it is. So I have a question. How much should you be eating during the day? Like, is it better to eat every couple of hours, or what's a good, I've heard so many things about this, but I mean, I try to eat 3 meals a day, but should you be eating 3 meals and 2 snacks? Like, what's a good combination for someone who needs to eat food, less snacks, or healthy snacks?
Well, first it depends what you're eating, right?
Yeah.
Depends how active you are, right?
Yeah.
If you're not that active,
Mm-hmm.
you probably should not be eating a super high calorie diet like someone else that is very active, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we'll go back into the metabolism thing. When you're not eating enough, it slows your metabolism down. When you're not working out, it slows your metabolism down. But if you increase your activity, you're going to be hungry. Increase your water intake, you're going to be hungry. Your body has adapted to this, you not eating and sitting around lifestyle. That's why you feel that way.
Yeah, someone can operate at a nutritional deficit. And when that happens, your body just goes store fat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is all I'm getting. we go hold on to this right here, because you have trained your body not to get nutrients. And if you didn't win a genetics lottery and can afford to do that, that's why it's important, like, not really get caught comparing yourself to anybody else. Because some people do have great genes. Doesn't mean they're healthy. Okay, it means that their habits won't put on weight. Okay, they can still have cholesterol issues, blood pressure, diabetic, and you look at them and say, wow, you don't gain any weight. You always, like, that's the sole definition of the appearance of health. So it's someone at a nutritional deficit. It could be because, like, okay, why am I gaining weight? Why can't I lose weight? Like Chloe was saying, you're not, the body's not in fat burning mode. And like I said earlier, food is fuel. So if you're not getting enough fuel to exercise and have enough fuel to get through workouts, you're not going to even maximize the workouts if you're malnourished and exercising. And I've seen people even exercise, not eat enough, and gain weight, because now the body's like, I need something. You moving now, you're not replenishing, you're not giving me the fuel I need to function.
I forgot to ask the second part of my question. The second part is, so if I'm going to meet with you, Jamal, at 12 o'clock to work out, 12 noon, what time should I be eating something before we work out, and what would you suggest that look like?
Yeah, I recommend on average, yes. Now you can break your meals up, 3 meals a day, 5, 6 meals a day. The most important thing is that you get your nutrients at the end of the day.
At the end of the day?
But you look throughout the day.
Oh, you mean by the end of the day?
I get my nutrients. Now, I recommend, if you're doing especially type A resistance type training, to eat something around an hour before.
An hour before, okay.
Yeah. A lot of times, us trainers recommend, if you just doing cardio, fasted cardio, first thing on the morning on an empty stomach, if possible. Some people's schedules don't allow that, because sometimes you don't want to burn through the food to try to burn those calories to get to burn additional calories. So sometimes, that can be recommended, but I recommend an hour. They could be just a bananas and some granola, a small meal. Nothing is heavy, feeling heavy, but just something to hold you. So if you had like a salmon salad or fish, vegetables, just a little bit of rice, nothing too heavy, but that you're not working out on an empty tank.
Gotcha. And an hour before you work out is good. Okay.
Also, I just to touch on that too. It's all situational. Some people, that an hour may not be enough time. That might make you sick. So if you need to adjust a little bit, adjust a little bit. If you show up to the workout, you start working out, you're like, oh, I feel like my food's about to come up. Maybe do an hour and a half, Or if you just woke up, because when you work overnight or something and noon is like your morning, maybe that's your fasted time. That's okay too. But if you've been up for a couple hours, you should have eaten something already.
What's the benefit of a fasted workout though? Like, why?
You don't have any food in your stomach, so when you go to do your cardio, you're going straight into fat burning mode, and your body doesn't have to work through burning that food in your stomach first. I personally work out without eating, but I can't. Some people, that makes them dizzy, or they don't have energy. I personally can do that. It's all situational, or what your body can handle. You don't have to follow something that someone else says. You have to see what works for you. I can wake up and just go. I intermittent fast, but that's just me. My body can handle that. So I only eat for 8 hours a day. So between 12 and 8 is when I eat my calories, and the rest of the time I don't eat. I let my body fast. But that doesn't work for everyone. Some people feel lightheaded or they can't work out with that, I can do that. So you have to find what works for you.
Are there foods you can eat in advance of a workout that will help you get into fat burning mode? In other words, are there things that will add to the workout so that it'll enhance the fat burning mode? Or no? Or is it just better if you want to jumpstart to the fat burning mode when you're working out, you just should fast?
Maybe
Is
water.
that the answer?
Water.
Like, I was told by another fitness person that like he told me I should eat like a sweet potato, half a sweet potato, a small sweet potato before I work out.
Like, we're talking about cardio or like lifting? Like if you're gonna be lifting,
I was doing both. So I guess he was saying before my workout, do that.
If you're going to lift first and then do cardio, like Jamal said, you should put something in your body. And if you're not going to be fasting, then yes, you should do your weight training first. So then by the time you get to your cardio portion, your body is already working. So you're getting more out of your cardio at that point because you're doing it after you already lifted your weights or did your functional training or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this is just, I just thought this show is supposed to be multi-generational. So what age should someone start their children with weightlifting? Like recently, my husband and I purchased a weight set for his nephew who is 13, I think. 13, I think he's 13. But what's a good age to get children started into weightlifting? Is that a good age or younger or?
Yeah, I think a lot of my clients that have their kids work out, once they start taking their respective sport seriously, if they're in sports or, they may be starting to feel, a lot of kids, if they see their parents working out, they want to work out too. So I do think weight training is important if a lot of these kids want to excel in sports, because if they're doing sports at their school at a higher level, they're doing that there. Some schools don't offer that. So if your child is at a school it's not being offered versus a lot of these kids that are at private schools where they offer it, you don't want them to feel like they're behind or they're not as strong because they're not doing that. Obviously, you're not going to have your kid doing these crazy weightlifting things, but there's things that they can do to help them with their muscle development.
Yeah, that's I've seen that topic debated. Some, on average, my observation experience around that middle school age, so you think like 12, 13. Like I said, that's the safe time to start. Younger, some of the concerns is putting too much stress on the joints as their bodies are developing. It's not done properly, right? So, like, for example, you could take a 10-year-old, they pick up some 5-pound dumbbells, something light, start introducing them to things with very light to moderate weight, but really focus on their body weight, doing push-ups, squats, lunges, core exercises, maybe learn some version of pull-ups, even assisted. Maybe you get to the point they can do a pull-up. So they can start building their strength, learn how to do their body weight. But like I said, middle school is usually the safe zone to start. And like Chloe was saying, that's usually the time if the young person's the athlete that they really start dialing in, like, okay, I want to take this serious now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can start, that's a whole nother time. You can start getting to the specialized training and training for your sport and so forth. So it's going to intensify. But they start getting that 6th, 7th, 8th grade. That's when you go start doing it. That's usually when you really see it kind of pick up and really start getting into it.
what would you recommend if somebody is at home and they just want to start working out and they, you know, they want to buy some weights? What would you say they should start with? Like buy some 5-pound dumbbells or 10 pounds, or what's a good starting point if you're just going to start somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, the person doesn't need to buy, if they just started, they don't need to get anything too heavy, you know. So yeah, light to moderate weight dumbbells, but you know, you have bands, resistance bands, leg glute bands, suspension trainers, kettlebells. You know, you have these adjustable kettlebells now. You buy one kettlebell, go from like 5 to 40 pounds.
Whoa.
You know, that take up a lot of space. So you can start there. The thing, you can always add. You can always add on. So start what you believe you can handle, and as you progress, start adding on to it. If home is going to be the primary area of focus, and then especially this pandemic, people have revisited. Okay, how do I want to work out? You know, do I want to go in the gym? Do I want to stay at home? Do I want to be outdoors? So bands and kettlebells are definitely something that's easy to transport, you know, and have a lot of versatility. There's something, like I said, don't take up a lot of space in your house. Fit in your car if you want to go to a park or something.
Good. That's good.
So what would you say is the best exercise for a beginner? Somebody that is just starting out on this journey of, you know, working out. What would be the best recommendation? They've never worked out ever, and they now know that they need it for health reasons or whatever. What would you recommend to get them started?
I'm not an
So
expert,
equal-
but I'll say walking. Seriously, it helped me when I started doing stuff 2 years ago, just walking a little bit every day for like 30 days was the challenge, and it helped.
The consistency.
I remember I remember you posting about all the weight you lost and through walking.
And that was at the age of 50 and had not been working out for years before that.
You were a woman of a certain age.
Woman of a certain age.
I'm proud. I'm proud.
Oh, that's funny.
But
Right, Kim.
I got a question about walking. So, like, you know how they're always like, well, I should say me. I'm always like, well, I got 20,000 steps or I got 10,000 steps. Does that really mean anything if I don't go a certain pace? Or
That's a good question.
where did this step
Good
come
question.
from? Is it important? And if it is, what number should I be striving for? And
Right.
actually, what pace should I be striving for to get to the point where it's actually beneficial to me? Because I can walk daylights out of something and it probably doesn't mean a thing.
Well, if your heart rate's not getting elevated, it's
So
not.
what's a good heart rate?
Well, everyone's different, right?
Oh,
My resting heart rate is probably a lot higher than your resting heart rate, or the heart rate that it takes me to feel like I'm working is a lot higher than yours probably is. Like, for example, right, just now I was working out, right?
mhm.
And my heart rate was like 190, which would be very bad for you. But that's because I was running like hard. But that was fine. I was fine. But that, resting heart rate and your working heart rate, that's a number we would have to sit down and go over. There's a way to calculate that, right? Based off of a cardio exercise. But are you wearing a watch when you're walking, or you just, what are you wearing?
Yeah, we're watching.
Oh, your Apple Watch will tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, it'll tell you.
Well, it's not an Apple Watch, but it's like,
But it'll
it's a
tell you.
Fitbit.
Yeah. So like you know what your resting heart rate is. Like my resting heart rate right now is 93.
Oh,
What's yours?
mine is lower. What does that mean?
No, that's just my heart works a little harder. And I just finished working 45 minutes ago.
Well, now that I'm laughing, it went up.
But so your body gets used to things, right? If you're walking 20,000 steps every single day for 10 years, you know, that's not an exertion for you, right? Your body gets used to things. If you do the same thing all the time, you know, you have to switch it up. You have to get your heart rate up, and that's how you're going to burn those calories, is by elevating your heart rate. So I think your goal should be, if you want to walk, you should be walking at a pace that's getting your heart rate up, not necessarily how many steps you're doing, right? That your steps can be like, okay, or for distance, you know, I want to make sure I go this far. But if we're talking in terms of I'm trying to work, you know, you have to sweat a little. Can't be casual walk. But for some people, a casual walk is work, right? But eventually you get past that point where that casual walk is no longer work anymore because you're used to it, right? You've adapted. So now that casual walk needs to become a brisk walk, which might become an incline walk, or then a jog, or then a run. You know, you can't stay at the same pace.
Okay.
I wog. I call it a walk jog. I wog.
That's good. I like walk jogging, having a goal, say, okay, I'm going to run for 5 minutes, walk for 1 minute. Run for this amount of time, walk for this amount of time. Especially if you're a beginner, you know, or if you're on the treadmill, say I'm going to run for 1 minute, walk for 1 minute, just to start to build up that endurance. If you want to eventually be a runner, you know, or if you're walking is just your thing, I'm going to walk flat for 1 minute. I'm going to walk on this high incline for 1 minute. You know, there's a million different intervals you can do, and you can adjust them to where your fitness level is at.
I just thought of another question. So, and this might be a personal thing too, like everybody's different, but is there a right combination, like 3 times a week cardio, 2 times a week weight training, or some kind of general measure of how much you should do of each that you can think of, like, or should you be doing cardio every day and maybe weights every other day, or what should I be doing? I know I need to pick up my cardio, so I know I need to do that. But is that an everyday thing? Do I have to do cardio every day? Or?
I feel like I've been talking. If Jamal wants to talk, Jamal can talk, or I can keep talking. I can keep talking, no problem.
One depends on your goals. Like I said, it's a preference thing. I'm a proponent of at least 3 days a week of strength training at a minimum. Because one, you need to assess yourself and say, okay, what areas need more volume, right? You got to balance out the volume with rest and recovery. All right. If you need really burn calories, then you need to crank up the cardio. All right. So you need both. Look at your schedule and say, this is the window I have to do strength training, maybe and cardio in the same workout. This is a day I would split it. You know, interval training, HIIT training is a way to kind of knock out both at the same time. You know, 30 minutes, something real intense, multiple exercises in a row, mixing in strength with cardio, running in place, jumping jacks, marching in place, things like that in between. That's a way to knock them out both at the same time. But again, like person got to assess their goals, their needs. But in the midst of that, regardless of what they are, like I'm a proponent of at least 3 days a week. You know, from my own experiences and working with clients, if you do at least 3 days instead of say 2, that's 4 more workouts over a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, over 2 months, that's 8 more times you did strength training. So again, you need the volume to really, you know, probably reach the person's desired goals. It's like the balancing act becomes about the time management.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a lot in 30 minutes in the strength training workout and move at a good pace and get a lot accomplished. But it's kind of a strategy has to be put together about how that's going to be approached. Because most working professionals say time is of the essence. I get it. So you got to maximize the time you do have with the plan. And like I said earlier, know what you're doing and why you're doing it and the purpose that it's serving.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that really sinks in, it's like, okay, I need to do this because I know why I'm doing it. Because if I don't, this is the consequence of it. I'm not going to get to where I want to get.
All right. Well. Any more questions?
Let me see.
I asked most of my questions, actually. I got some good notes here. Anybody have anything else? If not, we're gonna let Chloe and Jamal share about their businesses at this point.
That's good.
Who's working out tomorrow? That's my question.
I have a question about carbs.
I'm working out tonight. I'm getting on my Oculus when we get off.
I have a meeting with Jamal tomorrow. I hope he takes it easy on me.
Get her, Jamal. Get her.
So how about ladies first? Chloe, would you like to introduce or share with us?
Hold on. I think she said she had a question about carbs.
Oh, who had a question? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, Kim, keep going.
Quick question. So what are your thoughts about carbs? Because I try to stay away from carbs, even though I love carbs. It's probably my favorite food group. I love a good carb.
Do you stay away from them?
Yeah, because I just feel like I've done a lot of like experimenting with different types of foods in terms of like what that does for my workout and the results I get. And I feel like carbs just don't work for me, even no matter how active.
Then you know, I was about to say you have to know your body. So if you already
Oh, so it just depends.
now, do I think you should
Like everybody's different.
any? Yeah, I don't think you shouldn't be having any, but you should have some. But
And what about bananas? Bananas are, I feel like, and I love bananas, but I stay away from those because I feel like they're just carby. Like they give me the feeling of carbs. I just stay away from them.
that's funny you say that because I feel the same way. I stopped eating bananas a while ago. I eat like berries and like lower on the
I know. So
fruit when it comes to fruit, because fruit's just like high in sugar. So I go more the berry route when I do fruit.
okay.
But like good food is good food. You shouldn't be eating pasta, but you can have a banana. Pick your carb. Don't eat all pasta and bread and those type of things. You shouldn't shy away from the good ones. If you're going to eat them, eat the good ones, right? Don't choose to eat pasta over a banana. Right? But you should have some. Carbs are fuel. Don't deprive yourself. You need that to be able to work out and make it through the day. And just like Jamal was saying, you don't want your body to go into the deprivation mode to where you're storing fat. But you have to know what's for you. I'm the same way. I'm a very low carb kind of person because I know what carbs do to me. So, and I pick and choose what kind of carbs I'm gonna have. Like I don't really drink, but I love dessert. So.
How did you give up carbs, Kim? Like, did you just go cold turkey, or what did you do as far as carbs? How'd that work?
I substituted it for protein.
Oh.
So like instead of having chips, because I love chips and those are carbs, I might eat nuts. So the problem with that though is that nuts are high in fat. So then it's just always a balance. But if I'm going to err on something that I would consider, I mean, not bad, but I eat nuts. Like that is like my carb substitute.
So, and that works for you? Like for me, I like the sweetness of carbs. So the nuts satisfies your sweetness, or you don't care about the sweetness?
Well, I don't really care. Well, I like sweet, but like some nuts are sweet, like cashews are sweet. So I mean, I think it's all about kind of like what we've been talking about. Like whatever your goal is, you gotta just be consistent and
Train yourself, change your
yeah,
relationship with
change your
food.
relationship with food. Because
Yeah.
you can teach, someone told me you can teach your body to want good things.
Mhm.
And it's actually true. Like I've experienced it. When he first told me that, I was like, really? But you can train your body to like crave the good stuff, which I have actually experienced, which is kind of why it's not too hard, as hard as it used to be for me to stay away from the carbs I loved. Yeah.
So you
They
changed your
say
relationship.
21 days to form a habit. So
Mhm.
if you force your body to eat certain things for 21 days or more, that might be that habit.
Hi, Regina. Good to see you.
Hi, Rick.
Hi, I'm sorry. Look at my shirt.
I know.
Look at my cup.
Yes, you all are.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you? We had a question. We had a question from a very dear man that I know named Andre Dunstan. He said to ask about doing full body workouts. And I don't know what he wanted to know about that, but I'm asking the question. What about full body workouts? What do you all think about those?
I think that that's important, especially if you don't have time to dedicate throughout the week to doing specific body groups, right? If you only have 2 days a week to work out, then you should probably be doing full body workouts, because a lot of times when you designate days to a body part, it's because you're going to work out every day. So aren't going to, if you don't have time to spread out your workouts throughout the week like that, then you should be working majority or doing bigger groups in those 2 days that you have, right? And split up like that versus, Monday legs, Tuesday bi and try, Wednesday back, or something like that. Those people that are working out every day. When you're consolidating your workouts, then you should be also consolidating the body parts that you're working on those days and making it a bigger workout in that time.
Gotcha. Okay, I get you. I see I see now. That makes sense too. Gotcha. All right. Anyone else have any questions? All right, well then, Chloe, we'll start with you. Share a little bit about your business with us.
What do you want to know?
Like, do you do personal training virtually, in person?
Okay.
Where are you located?
Okay.
That kind of stuff. How can people find you if they're interested? Do you offer meal plans, like just anything you want to share?
Okay, yeah. Philadelphia area. I travel to clients within reason. Nothing crazy, right? Probably 30 minutes is my limit, maybe 40. I think some people got some special treatment at one point that are on this call. But yes, virtual training, is definitely a thing now. Ever since COVID, it's worked well for a lot of my clients, and a lot of people have realized that, even when you're traveling or when I'm traveling, we can still stick to that routine with the virtual training and being able to work out in your home. That eliminates a lot of excuses. On top of, if your trainer's coming to you, eliminates even more excuses, right? You don't have to go anywhere. Your trainer's coming, or you just log on wherever you are. Very efficient. I'm definitely an advocate for that, especially if you're someone that's been training for a while. And this is an accountability partner thing at this time, keeping you on a schedule. Virtual training is a great thing that came out of the pandemic for sure. As far as in person, in the Fairmount downtown areas where I do a lot of my in-person training, unless, obviously I'm going to a client's house. But if you're coming to me, that's where I'm at. And yeah. I see Jeanette smiling. What are you thinking about over there?
Chloe trained me. I just fell all the way off.
Way.
Way.
We are fallen children.
Yes, I will say that, testimony, she's excellent.
Yeah.
But, you have to do the work. So,
Yeah.
very good.
She's gonna be knocking on your door tomorrow. She's gonna come knocking on you and Marcy's door.
I know where most
You're gonna come to
of them
Jeanette. She's
live.
closer to Jeanette.
Come on, Dick, come on. I'm like, I'm tired.
All right, well, Jamal, you want to share with us? Oh, Chloe, real quick, how do people contact you?
Facebook, Instagram, email, phone. I can put all that in the chat.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That would be great. Jamal?
Oh, okay. I'm similar to Chloe. I'm a private trainer, mobile trainer, virtual trainer. Also provide online coaching where I just provide the workouts, meal recommendations. There's a plan for them to follow with follow-up communication, in between. So that's also something, through the pandemic that has picked up as well, that people like just, tell me what to do. I'll check back with you. So I do that. My website is piperfitness.com. My Instagram is my name, and my Facebook, so easy to find. Then also, then you have HBCU graduates will have friends start selling these hoodies and other items on HBCU Alumni Shop is the website. So this hoodies are just the first of things to come. Also have I'm a golfer, so I have a golf divot tool. If you have golfers in your family and HBCU graduates, Father's Day, birthday, maybe a gift item they may like. So that's what I have going on with me. So like I said, anybody in the Washington, D.C. area, I'm based out of Silver Spring, Maryland. And some of the Chloe I travel within reason, 2 people. Not trying to have to catch a flight to come see you or a train. So, but like I said, within reason, more than willing. So, and I appreciate you having me here to join you, ladies.
Thanks for joining us, both you and Chloe. Thank you both for joining us. But I would say
Thank you, Chloe.
that I have benefited from the virtual training. I never was consistent with working out or training before, but because I'm able to have virtual training with Jamal, that I have stayed consistent for almost 9 months now. And for the first time in my life, I worked out while I was on vacation. That has never happened. But because it was virtual and he was persistent, I made sure I didn't miss my appointments during the vacation. So I appreciate that. And I know, Kim, you work out with Jamal in person, right?
I do, bright and early.
Yeah, that's the thing I like.
He travels.
I like that he'll work around my schedule and make sure that I can get it in, because I'm not a bright and early kind of girl. So
I like bright and early. I don't like virtual. It's not the same.
Doesn't work for you.
Not, I wouldn't want it consistently. I like in person. It makes a difference for me.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of all this, that they are able to accommodate everyone's needs or wants. So
yeah,
there's really at this end, they keep it pretty affordable too. So there's really, it's accessible to most people at this point, I would say, which is wonderful. So with that, we hope that everyone will consider to take care of themselves and stay as healthy as possible and as strong as possible. I know as we get older, I just know that as a tennis player, when I was younger, I didn't really actively work out, but the tennis racket, playing tennis kept me strong. So when I became older and I tried to lift the same tennis racket to play, I couldn't even lift that tennis racket. So I know that muscle muscle development for me is an important thing as I get older, just to try to stay as healthy as possible. So I hope, everyone will start the year off right with a new regimen if they don't have one, or continue the one that they have. And we will be back in 2 weeks. We're supposed to have somewhat of a shopping show in 2 weeks. We'll tell you more about that. So look forward to seeing all of you all in a couple of weeks. But until then, I hope that you stay healthy out there. And good night.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you to our
Thanks for
guests.
having
Good night.
me.
Happy Friday Eve.
Thank
Yes.
you, Jamal and Chloe.